Yeah, fix the audio delay, because I'm the shit. But okay. We're going to be looking at Rush Defense for Terran versus Protoss, and I'll briefly touch on Zerg. So let's get this shit show started, shall we? Yeah, let's speed it up. Alright. Hello. Okay, good luck, have fun, good game. Because I'm the shit, and he doesn't say anything back, I don't think. Nope. Dick. Okay, but yeah, this is the same matchup, same map, obviously. Me and King Fluby. But okay, what you're going to want to pay attention to is my placement of buildings as well as this SCV right here. Let's move it along. I send my next SCV. Okay, wait! Nope. Okay. So, a major part to rush defense is a frontal wall. With Terran, it's extremely easy. It's normally 2 supply depots and a barracks. Sometimes it's 2 barracks and a supply depot, 1 barracks and a supply depot. The list goes on and on. Basically, you want to have a supply depot so you can lower it and still let your guys out, but also have some heavy health buildings like the barracks, which has 1,000, to be able to kind of cover your ass. But the crucial thing to rush defense is this little guy right here. This beeth called the Scout. Okay, watch him. We're going to follow the life of this SCV. Watch him go. Oh, nobody there. Nobody there. Moving across. And he's coming around. Oh, stop! Let's look at my view. Let's go back. See, I have no idea. If I were to turn around, I would be so boned. But see, what you want to do is you want to come to right about here before you dip and turn around. You want to be sure, you want to actually confirm that there is either a Nexus, hatchery, or command center there. So let's move on. Okay, so this is what I'm seeing. Let's back it up just for a second. And we'll go back to normal speed. Okay, so he's coming in. La-di-da. And I'm like, oh, not paying a whole lot of attention to him. Let's do a little bit of scouting. Okay, right here. I can see that he's going gas, a gateway, and no wall. What that tells me is I can see this probe right here heading for gas. And then what I didn't see is this probe sticks around or goes straight into the gas as well. So he immediately puts 3 probes on gas. So that means that he's going for a Stalker Zealot opening, because he wouldn't be getting gas if he was just going to Zealot rush me. That's pointless. Unless he was planning on late-term gameplay. But let's open this back up for everyone. You can see that he does have 3 on gas, and he immediately tosses down a Cybernetics core. And you can see what I'm doing over here. I've got my barracks up. I'm pumping out Marines, going on with my standard build, supply depot, keeping my macro up. And because I saw him go into heavy gas, well, early gas I should say, I go ahead and get my refinery, because Marauders are extremely good against Stalkers. Stalkers are considered heavy or armored units, and we'll fast forward here until I get my Marauder out. Alright, move it along. Come on. Wait for it, and stop! Okay, as you can see right here, Marauders do 10 damage, but 20 damage versus armored. If we go over here and look at his Stalker, bam, right down there, armored. Huge counter. Also, a big thing about rush defense is if you can keep your scouting SCV alive, stick it on the Zelnaga tower closest to your opponent if he doesn't already have somebody there. Because that will give you a huge warning system as to whether or not he's coming. But since I feel as if he's going for a little bit of a cheesy rush and trying to catch me with my guard down, I do go for my second barracks with a reactor. And as soon as I can, I grab my stem. But you still have to be keeping up your econ, since I planned for this game to go a little bit later, because I didn't expect him to just give up the way he did. I go ahead and grab my second gas, and I keep pumping out Marines and Marauders. And supply depots. This is actually where I get supply capped. But let me note on that really quick. If I hadn't got supply capped, I would have had an even bigger force, because that kept me down for at least 15 seconds. Because as you can see, if not, well, no, it's pretty much the full duration of 30 seconds. Because these guys have about a second apiece until they finish. And that supply depot is just getting started. So that, I probably would have had at least 3 to 4 more guys out if I hadn't gotten supply blocked. Okay, and I'm moving out right here because I'm about to do a little bit of aggression on him. But I have my scout down here at the Zelnaga, and what Zelnaga's towers do is they give you a certain field. They let you view a certain area. As you can see right here on the mini-map, this whole area I can see just by controlling this one. If I had gone up to this one, I could see even bigger. But he's not spawning from that location, and I'm not expecting fast air. So it was kind of superfluous to take an extra SCV or Marine and go down there. So as soon as I see that coming, I hightail it back to base, and I kind of wait it out. I want to see if he's going to commit to it or not. He does a very typical Protoss rush. Take a probe, build a pylon, and you can see that he upgraded the warp gates. Warp gates mean that in the pylon's blue area, the pylon's radius, they can warp in a certain amount of units. If you have 4 gateways, you can warp in 4 units of whatever, as long as you have the food and the resources and so on. And the reason he built what it's called a proxy pylon, kind of an expendable pylon just for certain pushes and a little bit of an advantage, is just so he can immediately have reinforcements right outside my base. Normally, this would be really bad. But because I scouted, and I can't stress enough, stress my nickname, okay. But scouting is so important mid or early and mid game, because if you don't know what your opponent's going, you have no idea how to adapt and no idea what to expect. It's just, you're in the dark and you're just kind of hoping for the best, and it's terrible to just run on that. But he kind of waits it out, warps in some stalkers and a zealot, and he goes for the push. Luckily, I see it coming up the ramp, so I know to move back, and this is where the frontal wall comes in really handy. If I hadn't had the frontal wall, he would have been able to be firing at me with all his stalkers, and as well as getting those zealots in there, which would have, I'm guessing, would have lost me this battle, and maybe even the game. It just goes to show how important this front wall is. So I repel him, he dips out, and I pursue just to get the extra kills and give him that drop in econ. But see, here's that proxy pylon coming into play. He just warps in 4 more stalkers, which normally would be good, but this force can overpower them. I've got 2 marauders and a good handful of marines. That's a very good mix, especially with the marauders doing the extra damage against stalkers. If he was a little bit, I don't want to say smarter because that's kind of an insult, more tactful, he would have warped in zealots, and he probably could have taken me with that. But see, because I was so prepared, I had time to take out that pylon to prevent any more units being warped in and coming up here and just destroying this one marauder. And I even have the time to dip back, take out the probe, and then continue to pursue him. And because of this scout right here, I know exactly what path he's taking. So I see he's going that way, I go around this way because I'm going to go for his base. But I'm seeing he's running these guys straight back to his base. So I pull these guys down around a couple times, and then I just pull them back to the Zelnaga, just for a little bit of deterrence if another quick rush came. As you can see, he was fully expecting me to come straight for his base by warping in these stalkers. That's kind of forcing him to spend his minerals on, say, an extra probe, or his second gas, or teching up to Twilight Council. This game is a real mind game. But the basics of a rush defense for a Terran, against a Protoss at least, if you anticipate a rush or know, or at least feel a rush is coming, try to get Marauders and a good healthy mix of the two, and make sure to get that frontal wall. That's kind of a staple of any tear and play regardless of if you expect a rush is coming or not, always wall, always have at least one supply depot there, just so you can move units in and out. And if you have to, later on, move your barracks or whatever. Say you have like Thors and they can't fit through there, yada yada. There's infinite possibilities, but this is just standard. While doing all this, you still have to keep up on your macro. That's a huge thing, is players get so absorbed in just a little skirmish like this that they're losing SCV count. As you can see, I'm pretty much saturated at this base and still producing Marines and Marauders while controlling this army down here. So that's the basics to the rush defense. Scout, learn how to anticipate things. It comes with gameplay, just noticing what's going on in the base. I'll be covering that a lot more. Like I said, I was going to touch on Zerg, and if you're expecting a Zergling rush, which is really common in the lower leagues because people are trying to rank up fast, go for just the single barracks and the wall off. Don't go for the tech lab or the refinery too early, at least. Just sit there and crank out Marines. Have enough Marines, excuse me, to where you think you can hold off like an 8 to 16 Zergling rush. Because it's normal. A lot of Zerg do that. Or if you're anticipating a little bit later rush, you see he gets an early gas, be expecting some Roach play. Get out Marauders, because Roaches are armored. So that's a time where you'd use a similar build to this. But that's about it on Rush. If you have any questions, please post it in the comments or send me a message. Don't forget to give me feedback, and keep doing what you're doing.